or, cheat. Some of the most damaging tactics are quiet, calculated, and designed to make you question yourself without really realizing that somebody else may have planted some seeds of doubt in your mind. And if you watch someone carefully, you might start seeing the patterns that some people completely ignore or just don't know to look for. So tactic number 1, the subtle gaslight. Unlike dramatic examples that you've maybe seen in movies, subtle gaslighting is small and cumulative. It could be like misremembering events or making you question your feelings, insisting that maybe you said something when you didn't. And the easiest example I can really give is you've made plans for dinner and they say something to the effect of, well, I just don't remember agreeing to that at all. And at first you shrug it off. Well, maybe I did forget to mention it. Nah, there was just a lot of stuff going on. And these moments slowly build up over time and can make you doubt your own memory and your own judgment. And psychologically, this is something really powerful because it's slowly chipping away piece by piece at your self-trust. It makes you more reliant on the narcissist for the validation because over time you think, oh, maybe I didn't say this, maybe I didn't agree to this time, maybe I didn't keep them up to date on something, or maybe I did something and they're saying that it didn't happen. So what you start to do, since you're doubting yourself, and we all do it, we go to the worst place we could possibly go. We go to the narcissist. Well, they'll remember one way or the other, or they'll know what's going on or not going on, respectively. And so before you know it, you're going to the worst person that you can go to for the answers. Tactic number 2 is love bombing followed by a sudden withdrawal. At first, they're overwhelming you with attention. They're blowing up your phone and they're buying you stuff and taking you to all the places. And you feel like you've found the perfect person. We all know what love bombing is, but then it stops, and it stops very suddenly. The affection, it's just gone, and it leaves you very confused. You don't understand. They seemed so in, now they seem so out. And if the love bombing has really, really gotten a hold, you might even be desperate for their approval, for answers, what's going on. A really good example is, and it's quite common, unfortunately, is sometimes they'll stop texting. And then the next day they barely respond. Then the next day you get nothing. It's this emotional roller coaster. And it's not romantic. It's control, because they're getting you addicted to all of the attention. And before you know it, your brain begins to chase the highs. You desperately want out of the low. You want to stop feeling crappy. You want their attention again. And you are fearing the lows. You don't want to walk on eggshells. You don't want to piss them off. You don't know what to do. And it makes you more emotionally dependent on them. Anyone who swings in between extremes like this is signaling signs of manipulation, possible control issues, but whatever it is, it sure as hell isn't love. Tactic number 3 is triangulation. So we got to talk about this. Narcs will involve a third person to make you feel insecure or jealous. You might not even know the person. That's what's so wild about triangulation. All you have to do is really have an idea of a person. This could be a friend, it could be a coworker, maybe their past partners. Honestly, it could be somebody the narcissist just makes up. Well, I think Sarah handles things better than you do. Who the hell is Sarah? You don't know. You've never met Sarah. You have no idea. But it makes you feel as if you need to step up and do more. You are being compared. Your achievements and everything else are being compared to another person who, again, honestly, might not even exist. It's all designed to make you step up and do more and more and more. And wondering all the while if you're really good enough. And psychologically, this works. Humans naturally compare ourselves to others. It's not cool, it's not good, but we do it. And by inserting themselves into this comparison, they can control your self-esteem without confronting you directly, because they're not necessarily telling you that you're doing something wrong or bad or that they don't like something. They're just letting you know that somebody else is better. Well, Billy doesn't argue with me like this, or this person doesn't give me such a hard time. My last ex didn't have all these jealousy issues like you have. They're not necessarily down on you, but again, planting more seeds and really making you think, all without really having to be too direct because, of course, most of them can't stand confrontation. So, quick question. Have you ever experienced any of the tactics that we've talked about so far without really realizing it? I sure know that I did in my experience. I didn't know why I was being love bombed, and then all of a sudden a wall went up and I was getting the cold shoulder, and why all of this hot and cold behavior. I didn't understand why all of a sudden I was being compared to everybody else and I couldn't do anything right. So comment down below. I read all your responses and I want to hear your stories. And if you're dealing with someone like this right now and you need someone to talk to about what you've been going through, I also offer private phone chats where we can discuss your personal situation one-on-one. It's a safe space to process your experiences and get guidance if you need it on maybe steps to move further. And to reach out to me, the information that you need is actually on the screen for you now, and it's also available for you in the video description. So tactic number 4 is covert criticism. Ooh, here's a good one. Narcs rarely attack openly, especially the coverts. Again, they're going to hide all this criticism in the jokes and the backhanded compliments and things like that. The easiest example I can give is like, wow, you handled that pretty good. Or you're awfully brave for wearing that, or something to the effect of, oh, no makeup today. Good for you. Something like that. On the surface, it sounds like a compliment, or, oh, you're so brave, or something like that. But once more, another tactic designed to make you doubt yourself and feel inadequate. The comments might seem harmless at first. They tell you that, oh, they're just joking, or you just laugh it off. And this is something that, again, over time accumulates. Lowering your self-esteem, like I said a few minutes ago, just chipping away. Recognizing covert criticism is key because often it flies under the radar. Or if you do realize that the person's being insulting, they come in with the gaslighting of, you're really just being too sensitive. I was just kidding. I don't care what you wear, or I don't care, blah, 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 blah. I was just being funny. It was just a joke. You're really taking everything too seriously, too personally. And actually, that makes everything worse. So be very careful with covert criticism that's most of the time hidden behind jokes. Because here's the truth. There's always a little bit of truth in kidding. Tactic number 5 is playing the victim. Narcs are never going to take responsibility or accountability or any of that. Instead, what they're going to do is twist situations so that they're always the one that was wronged. They're always the one that was offended or hurt. Again, you know how that goes more than likely. You maybe confront them, okay, about a mistake that they made. And suddenly it's all about them. I can't believe you're attacking me after everything I've done for you. I can't believe you would accuse me of this. I can't believe you, and a million other phrases they can stick in there. And before you know it, and I know because I'm guilty of this, you end up apologizing even though you didn't do anything wrong. When I confronted the person that I was in a relationship about their infidelity, it slowly became this weird conversation. And by the end of it, I apologized to this person for being cheated on. It's really something. So this guilt tripping and other things they can do, it keeps you very defensive. It shifts your focus away from their behavior. And understanding this tactic will help you stand your ground instead of getting sucked into their manipulation. And something that's really, really good for that is we're not talking about me right now. We're addressing this issue that I'm having with you. If you want to talk about this, we can, and we'll talk about it later. But right now, what I want to focus on is, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. When you look at these tactics together: gaslighting, love bombing, triangulation, covert criticism, and playing the victim, you will start to see a pattern that a lot of a narc's manipulation is more subtle yet consistent, more subtle than I think a lot of times we understand, and a lot more subtle in our day-to-day lives than I think we really kind of not give credit for, but it's just so easy when it happens in such small little doses, so covertly, or another person is brought into it. It just makes it a little bit harder to see. So the key takeaway here is awareness is absolutely your best defense. Because once you can recognize these things, you regain power over your emotions. And more importantly, not that your emotions aren't important, but your choices. Remember, if you're feeling overwhelmed and you want to talk through your experiences, my service is available to help you process everything safely with a fellow survivor and get support that is tailored to your situations. And like I say, these tactics might seem small on their own, sure, but together, it can really do some serious psychological damage. And recognizing is the first step towards protecting yourself as well as your mental health and even others around you. If you found this video helpful, I hope that you'll hit the like button, subscribe for more narcissism awareness content. If you would like, maybe share the video with somebody who might need it. Again, if you want the guidance, my service is available and we can talk about personalized support for you. As always, stay strong, survivor, and I'll see you in the next video. Today's topic of conversation is gaslighting. And regardless of the relationship, romantic, platonic, work, whatever it is that you've had with someone with a mountain of narcissistic tendencies, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. You find yourself having all these questions about whether your reality is the real one. So welcome to one of the narcissist's favorite games, where they try to convince you that you're crazy and they are the only sane one in the room. In this game, the narc is the master of manipulation, and trust me, it is a game to them. And you, survivor, are the puppet. So let's talk super briefly about what gaslighting actually is. And gaslighting in the most pure raw form is somebody, again, with these levels of toxic tendencies, trying to convince a person that their own memories, reality, perceptions, sanity are wrong. Everything is wrong and you're very confused. Basically, they want you to feel like you are like living in a funhouse where nothing is really the way it seems to be. Every time you think you have something figured out, one of the mirrors in the funhouse shifts. And before you know it, everything looks different. What's real? What's happening? Did that conversation really happen? What's going on? It is extremely confusing and leaves people with so many questions. So let's talk about how narcissists actually gaslight. Step one is deny, deny, deny. When a narcissist does something wrong or says something hurtful, they will often immediately just deny that it ever happened. You might say something like, you said you'd pick up groceries on the way home from work. I never said that. You're imagining things. They're very quick with the defensiveness and the aggression. I never said that. Are you feeling okay? Because I know I never said that. And then you could say, no, I even have the text here where I said, could you grab a few things on the way home? And their response again, even when you have proof in black and white, is you're crazy. You're making things up. Maybe you sent the message, but I didn't get it. You might want to talk to somebody about this. I think maybe you're losing your mind a little bit. They are experts in denial. In fact, they could probably teach a masterclass on it, and it's your fault for doubting them. How dare you question them, because they've got it all figured out. They know everything. They know all the answers. And so let's move right on into step two, twisting everything that you say. Oh, holy shit. And I mean everything. Once they start gaslighting, no statement that you ever make is safe. They will twist it until you feel like the crazy one. Your words are basically bent, reassembled. There's some revisionist history there, and suddenly you're the one to blame. Well, congratulations. You've entered narc logic, where everything you say is basically turned against you. You could say something like, Well, we haven't really been spending much time together lately. And out of left field, here comes, oh, so now I'm a terrible partner. I have been nothing but loving towards you, and you're attacking me. How could you even say that? Your natural response would be, I never said you were a terrible partner. I said that we haven't been spending a lot of time together. And the immediate lash out that you will get is, yeah, but that's not what you meant. You meant I'm terrible. You always make me feel like I'm the problem, like I'm not good enough. One small statement about something that maybe you'd like to have a conversation about turns into this awful snowball of just toxicity and drama. We also have to move into things like creating a false narrative, but you could also just call it something like building the alternate reality. And this is when things really get fun. Yeah, right. A narcissist is kind of like a TV producer, but instead of creating a show that everyone loves, they create a very fake world that is designed to make you very paranoid. Someone very narcissistic might say to you, I would never say that to you. That's not even close to what happened. You must be confusing me with somebody else. And when they use these statements like this, you must have been saying that with someone else. This must have all happened in your head. If they do this fairly consistently, before you know it, you might even begin to have those questions. You'll step aside with yourself and you'll say, wait, did we have that conversation? No. Yeah, we did. I remember it. I'm not crazy. And then here comes the narcissist. Nope, you're misremembering it. Sorry, wasn't me. I'm starting to get kind of worried about you. Have you been feeling all right? And now you're living in the alternate universe. And trust me, they're in charge of the storyline, and it is never going to be about you having any control with what's happening. And here's the kicker. The worst part of gaslighting isn't just the manipulation, which sucks enough as it is. It's that you will actually really start to doubt yourself. You think those things, like I just said a moment ago. Am I going crazy? Another very popular phrase in gaslighting is, you're really being awful sensitive about this. You're really making a big deal out of this. And so you'll begin to ask, am I really sensitive? Should I just lighten up a little bit? Before you know it, your confidence in your own perception begins to decline. But fear not, there are ways that you can spot gaslighting in action. So let's talk about a few of the red flags that point to somebody could potentially be gaslighting you. Again, denial. They're denying things that they said or did. I didn't say that. I didn't do that. Also, another very big one is they make you feel like you are overreacting. You're really making a big deal out of this. Wow, this must really bother you. Another huge move for toxic and potentially narcissistic people is guilt. They attempt to make you feel guilty for things that aren't your fault. There's appropriate guilt when we legitimately do something wrong and we feel appropriately guilty. And then there's what a narcissist can often want you to think, which is inappropriate guilt. You need to feel guilty despite the fact you've done nothing wrong. Also, people who are doing this and trying to gaslight you will try to convince you that your reality is wrong. They might even go further and suggest that you apologize for your feelings or your thoughts. And so if you're checking off these boxes here right now as we go through this, congratulations. You've just become the unwitting star of the huge gaslighting game here. Very, very unfortunate. So even though we know gaslighting is a narc's favorite game, there are also things that we can do to prevent gaslighting as best we can. A narcissist and people with these traits, they're always going to say things like this. You're crazy. There's something wrong with you. I would go talk to a professional. You need, is some kind of help. I'm concerned about you. But the more stuff you get in black and white can help you as far as them denying everything. If you feel as if someone is attacking you, trying to confuse you, trying to twist the situation, remember that you have the power and the ability to stop the conversation. You do not have to entertain this person or go any further into their conversation. You can say, I feel like you're attacking me. I feel like you're trying to confuse me. Or you can even say, I'm not really sure what's happening right now, but I don't like the way this is going. So we're going to continue this conversation at another time. Don't be afraid to make an exit. You don't have to engage in manipulative conversations. You do not have to engage in conversation where people are attacking you or trying to tear you down or trying to pull you into drama. Remember that you do have that power and you do have that control. This is one of their super favorite games to play. And the only rules are there are no rules and these people win by default. But I mean, this is more like a game of hide and seek. Except, what happens is the narcissist is attempting to hide from the truth. But again, don't worry. You are not alone. You are not crazy. This happens when we get in very toxic, very unhealthy relationships, again, friendships, what have you, with these people that are highly toxic and dramatic, and they need to twist events to work out better for them. Of course they do. The narcissist is always going to want to look right and pure and amazing, and everything is your fault. As always, you don't have to keep questioning everything. You know your truth. You know what's happening. Again, you can take notes, try to get as much as you can in black and white, or the best alternative, don't engage with these people as often as you possibly can. Remove yourself from the situation. So I will have more videos to come on some narcissistic insight. Remember, trust yourself. You are the one who knows what's going on as far as your truth. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. You think you know someone. You believe in love, in trust, in loyalty. But what happens when a person you loved turns everything that you shared into a weapon? What if your pain, your heartbreak, becomes the story they tell about you? They leave you, vanish without a trace, but their words follow you. They distort the truth, twist your reality, and launch a smear campaign that paints you as the villain. And you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? Was it all a lie? This is the truth about narcissists and why they will stop at nothing to destroy your reputation, even after they've walked away. A smear campaign is the deliberate effort to damage a person's reputation. It's a calculated attack that is meant to spread lies, distort the truth, and create a false narrative about somebody, often with the goal of making them look bad, crazy, or untrustworthy. In the case of narcissists, these smear campaigns are not just about hurting somebody emotionally. They're about maintaining control, protecting their fragile ego, and keeping their carefully crafted image intact. Narcissists engage in smear campaigns after discarding a partner or a victim because they need to ensure that the world sees them as the good guy. They can't afford for anyone to see the truth, that they were the ones that were manipulative and deceitful, among other things. Instead, they turn the tables, blaming their victim and painting them as the problem. By launching a smear campaign, the narcissist shifts the blame away from themselves, deflects any responsibility, and controls the narrative, often at any cost, even if it means destroying somebody else's reputation in the process. Narcissists thrive on control. It's not just a preference. It's a need they have. When they lose control over someone they have discarded, they often lash out in the form of a smear campaign. This is their way of neutralizing their ex's ability to expose them, damage their carefully created image, and hold them accountable for their actions. By smearing the ex, the narcissist hopes to keep their reputation intact while shifting all of the blame away from themselves. But this behavior isn't just all about control. It's about self-preservation. Narcs are incredibly fragile when it comes to their self-esteem, I'm sure you know. Beneath the grandiose persona that they project lies a deep fear of being exposed as flawed or imperfect. So to protect this image, they need to paint their ex as the bad guy. It's a classic deflection tactic meant to distract other people from the narcissist's own shortcomings. In some cases, narcissists go even further with this by using triangulation.
They spread rumors to friends or family or even to new partners in order to create division and pit people against each other. This isolates the victim, making them feel misunderstood, and it heightens their emotional turmoil. It's all part of the narc strategy to control the narrative and prevent anyone else from questioning their behavior. And one of the first things a narcissist will do in a smear campaign is distort the reality. They twist and pervert the facts in extreme ways, turning the victim into someone unstable, crazy, abusive. Narcissists exaggerate certain events or leave out key details or just outright fabricate stories to create an entirely false version of events. For example, a narcissist might say that you were always really paranoid. You were the one that was abusive, and they were just too nice to try to fight back. These exaggerations aim to make you appear irrational and dangerous, even though the reality is very, very different. Another tactic that is commonly used by narcissists is, of course, gaslighting, a manipulative technique where the narcissist makes the victim question their own perception of reality. Narcs will deny things they said or did, twist things around, and make the victim feel as if they are the one losing their minds. And a very typical gaslighting statement might be something along the lines of, "I never said that. You're imagining things." Over time, this constant distortion can cause you to doubt your own memories, maybe even your sanity. We have to talk about this, they also excel at playing the victim. They frame themselves as the innocent one in the relationship. They didn't know any better, the one who just, gosh darn, tried their best, but they were pushed to their limits. And they might claim certain things like that they tried to make everything work, but you were the one who kept making things difficult and you just pushed them too far. By doing this, they cast themselves as, of course, the martyr and the victim, while blaming the other person, you, for the failure of the relationship. And of course, blame shifting, a hallmark of narcissistic behavior. They will never take responsibility for their own actions. Instead, they accuse the ex of being abusive or emotionally needy and mentally unstable. For example, you might hear them say something like, "You were always so demanding and you never appreciated anything that I did for you. You're so unappreciative. You're so ungrateful." And this tactic is designed to keep the narcissist from having to confront their own faults and place the blame on somebody else, because they are not going to take the hit on that. I know that it's very difficult to do. Healing from a narcissistic relationship can leave you feeling lost, drained, of course, and questioning everything you thought you knew about yourself. But here's the thing, you don't have to face this journey alone. I've been there too. For over 6 years, I've been studying narcissism, but not only that, I have lived through it. And that's why I'm offering flexible, casual chats where we can talk through what you're dealing with. No judgment, just real, honest conversations. Think of it less like a therapy session and more like a heart-to-heart with someone who truly understands. Whether you need a listening ear, practical advice, or just someone who knows exactly what you're experiencing, I'm here for you. I want to share what I've learned and help you take some steps to move forward towards healing. If you're ready to talk and get the support you deserve, reach out anytime. My contact info is on the screen for you now, and I would love to connect with you soon. A key part of the smear campaign is the narcissist's need to protect their own image. And to do this, they label their exes as crazy, toxic, and unstable. This shows the narcissist as being the rational one, the one who's so calm and emotionally stable, while it shifts the responsibility for the relationship falling apart onto the ex. By doing so, the narc can secure their position as the good guy in the eyes of other people. Projection is a huge strategy that narcs often employ. They are masters of deflecting their own faults and just pushing them right onto other people. For example, if the narcissist was unfaithful, they might accuse you of being the one that was paranoid about cheating. They might say something along the lines of, "I don't know what their problem was. They were always accusing me of cheating, even though they were the ones who were absolutely cheating." And this shifts the focus onto the ex's supposed behavior, completely jumping over the wrongdoing of the narcissist. The victim of a narc's smear campaign can experience a range of emotional turmoil. It's common to feel confused, of course, hurt, and invalidated, especially when the lies that are being spread around are so extreme. The manipulation can be overwhelming, and the victim might find themselves really thinking about, like, what the hell happened in the relationship? Narcs' words can certainly cut deep, and it can be hard to separate the truth from the distorted narrative that's being shown. Isolation is another common effect of a smear campaign. If the narc has spread their lies to mutual friends, family, you might begin to feel abandoned or ostracized. The smear campaign can turn people against you, and it will leave you feeling alone and unsupported during one of the most difficult times in your life. The emotional toll of the isolation can be devastating. The constant gaslighting will also have you questioning things. As the lies pile up and the narc continues to manipulate reality, you can start to even believe the false narrative that's being spun. Over time, you might actually begin to doubt everything. So let's talk about some things that a narc says during the smear campaign. They might say something like, "Oh my God, I had to get out of there. They were just obsessed with me. I couldn't get away from them." They might say something like, "I gave this person everything, so ungrateful, just never appreciated anything." They might say things like, "I didn't know what to do. They were so unstable, having emotional outbursts. They must be bipolar or something. I don't know what their problem was." Or something like, "They kept trying to manipulate me into staying, even though I said I was done, and I don't like that. They're manipulative and controlling." Or something else that might be said, "They were always paranoid and accusing me of things I didn't do. I wasn't the cheater, they were the cheater. They were always so paranoid and always wanting to talk about it." They could also say something along the lines of, "Well, I didn't really want to leave, but they just pushed me too far and I couldn't deal with it anymore." And these statements are all designed to show the narcissist as the victim and the ex as the problem. They twist that reality of the relationship and make it seem as if the narcissist was the one who was wronged rather than the other way around. If you find yourself the target of a narc's smear campaign, there are a few important things to keep in mind. First and foremost, stay calm. Narcs are looking to provoke an emotional response because it actually reinforces the narrative that you're unstable or irrational. Reacting emotionally is really only going to fuel the story. It's best to remain as composed as you possibly can and not engage in the drama. Also, set boundaries. Limit, of course, or cut contact with the narc as much as possible. Don't allow them space to manipulate or control you any longer. You might feel the need to seek out support from trusted friends or family or even a therapist. Surround yourself with people who understand narcissism and can offer validation that's crucial to recovering from the emotional toll that all of this can take on you. Finally, document everything as much as you can. Keep records of interactions or instances of slander or anything else. Having evidence of what's being said and done can be helpful if the situation were to escalate and you need to, how do we say this nicely, defend yourself legally. So what do these smear campaigns really say about the narcissist? Well, really, when you boil it down at the core, it reveals insecurity and fear. Narcs smear their exes because they fear losing power, control, and that little perfect image that they have so carefully curated. A smear campaign is also a defense mechanism. They're going to try to protect their self-image at all costs. Again, even if it means hurting someone else and tearing them down in the process. A smear campaign also reflects projection and denial. By smearing the ex, the narc can hopefully avoid the confrontation. By smearing their ex, the narcissist hopes to avoid confronting their own issues, flaws, and everything they do wrong. Instead, they deflect the blame. They lie, all in an effort to maintain their fragile sense of superiority. Understanding a narc's playbook is really key to dealing with these situations. The more you understand how a narcissist operates, the more empowered you are in handling a smear campaign and ultimately recovering from it. Thank you so much for listening today. Please like the video if you found it informative or helpful. Make sure you subscribe for more videos on narcissism, mental health, and healing. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. Today, we're diving into a critical and often misunderstood topic: gaslighting in narcissistic relationships. In this video, we will explore what gaslighting really is, why narcissists feel the need to resort to this kind of manipulation, as well as some common gaslighting phrases that will probably sound familiar to you. I'll also discuss how you can recognize and combat this incredibly harmful behavior. If you or someone you know is navigating the complexities of a relationship with a narcissist, stay tuned. There are ways to reclaim your sense of self and find clarity. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which one person, the narcissist, attempts to make another doubt their own perceptions, memories, or feelings. It often involves things like denying facts, twisting information, or just making someone feel confused or insecure about their own reality. The term actually comes from the 1938 play called Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into thinking that she's losing her mind by dimming the gas lights and then denying it. In a gaslighting scenario, the manipulator, the narcissist, might dismiss the other person's experiences or emotions, leading them to question their judgment and their own sanity. And this can result in people feeling very anxious, unsure of themselves, and most dangerous of all, people become dependent on a manipulative narcissist for a sense of reality. There are a few reasons why narcs use gaslighting as really one of their main forms of manipulation, so let's quickly go over what some of those reasons are. Number one, of course, we have to talk about control. By making their partner doubt their own reality, narcs can exert control over them, ensuring that their partner remains dependent and, of course, probably more importantly than dependent, submissive. It allows the narcissist to spin their own narrative and tell the person that this fairy tale garbage is reality. Number two, self-preservation. Gaslighting allows people like narcs to protect their very delicate, fragile little self-image. If their flaws or behaviors are challenged, they can just deflect blame, avoid accountability by just twisting the narrative. Gaslighting is often used in combination with things like guilt tripping and or blame shifting. The blame will be thrust onto the narc's partner or friend, whatever the situation might be, and they'll just sprinkle a little gaslighting on top. Number three, manipulation. Narcissists, of course, thrive on manipulation. Gaslighting creates confusion and instability, allowing a narc to shape their partner's perceptions and responses in order to fit their needs. Again, spinning the story in the way they want and need to, and then force feeding it to the person as the truth. Number four, emotional security. By undermining their partner's confidence, narcissists can actually feel more secure in the relationship. It just diminishes the likelihood that their partner will question the behavior or leave the relationship altogether. If you're told that you're mentally ill, you're sick, you're crazy, you're forgetful, you have problems, once you're told things like that so many times, you actually will start to believe it. And this is so detrimental because the people who we feel we should be able to go to and turn to are actually the worst people for us to turn to in these kinds of scenarios. Number five, fear and intimidation. Gaslighting can instill fear and doubt in a narc's partner, making them less likely to speak out against the narc's behavior or seek any kind of help. Ultimately, gaslighting just serves to reinforce the narc's sad little sense of superiority that they need while, keeping that control and just completely eroding the other person's sense of self. Are you struggling with the impact of narcissistic abuse? Traditional in-person therapy isn't the only option anymore. With nearly 6 years here on YouTube, dedicating my life to studying narcissism, and having spoken to over 1,000 survivors, I offer a flexible phone chat service designed just for you. As a fellow survivor, you'll be talking to someone who truly understands narcissism, not only from studying it, but surviving it as well. In a very relaxed and affordable setting, our conversations will feel more like chatting as friends rather than formal therapy sessions. We'll exchange stories as survivors, and I'll share practical strategies tailored to your unique situation if you feel like maybe you need more than just a listening ear. If you're curious or you want more details, you can reach out anytime. My contact information is on the screen now, and I look forward to speaking with you. So even though I'm sure that you've heard all of these before, Survivor, let's quickly review some common things that narcs say that are attempts to gaslight a person. Number one, you're just being too sensitive. Yeah, this line here dismisses your feelings and can make you question your emotional responses. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I'm making too much of a big deal out of this. Number two, I never said that. This just pretty much denies previous statements or actions, leading the victim to doubt their memory. Maybe I didn't see that right. Maybe I didn't hear that right. Maybe I just can't remember this. Number three, you're imagining things. Now, this implies that a person's perceptions are completely false, reinforcing feelings of like massive confusion. Number four, that didn't happen. Again, more denial while making somebody question their reality. Number five, you're overreacting. This minimizes the other person's feelings and suggests that their reactions are completely unreasonable. Number six, probably the most popular one on the list, you're crazy. This is a direct attack on a person's sanity, and it begins to create the self-doubt. Number seven, this is just all in your head. This phrase implies the victim's feelings and thoughts are invalid and imaginary. Number eight, if you really loved me, you wouldn't question me. Now, this one uses guilt to silence a victim while making them feel that doubt is a sign of unloving behavior. Oh, I can't question them. I can't go against them. That's not good. Number nine, I'm sorry you feel that way. The non-apology apology. This sounds like an apology, but of course, in true narky fashion, it completely avoids responsibility and just shifts the blame right onto their partner. Number 10, you always do this. Now, this statement right here will shift the focus onto a person's faults, kind of deflecting from the narcissist's behavior and making it all about the other person. You always do this. You always ruin everything. So if you or someone you know has maybe heard these things before and you feel like you're being gaslighted, there are absolutely things that can be done for a person to regain their sense of self and combat this. So let's talk about some of those. And let's start with trust your intuition and your feelings. Acknowledge your emotions and your experiences. If something feels off, it's really important that you trust your instincts rather than just dismissing your feelings. Our instincts are there for a reason. Document everything. This is another really important thing, especially when it comes to gaslighting. Keep a journal or some kind of record of conversations and incidents, because this can help clarify. Get as much as you can in black and white, because then a narc can't come behind you later and try to switch up the narrative or confront you and say you didn't understand something, because there it is right there. Get some support if you feel you need it. Talk to trusted friends, family, or a therapist. Having an outside perspective can validate your experience and help you feel less alone and less isolated. Confront and reject the attempts. This is a pretty big one. Let the narc know that you won't be engaging in this behavior. For example, you can say something like, I get the feeling you're trying to confuse me, so let's just go ahead and talk about this later. Or, I don't appreciate that you're trying to make me feel guilty, so I'm going to end this conversation now. Along with that, set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries with the narcissist. Communicate what behaviors you won't be tolerating and prepare to enforce those boundaries. Education is also really important. Learn about narcissism and gaslighting. Understanding the dynamics can help you recognize the pattern of behavior, and you can figure out where to go from there. Of course, a big one, practice self-care. Engage in activities that promote your well-being, your mental health, and your self-esteem. Hobbies, exercise, mindfulness practices, everything that you feel you might need to reconnect with yourself. Plan for safety. There are some times where the situation just becomes too toxic or abusive. And so sometimes we have to consider making a plan to distance ourselves from these relationships. Again, your safety and your mental health should be your absolute top priorities. Be prepared for pushback. If you confront the narc, this will definitely escalate their behavior. So be ready for things like denial, blame shifting, anger, or further gaslighting attempts to try to switch the narrative. But remember, make sure you focus on your reality. Remind yourself of your worth and the validity of your feelings. Surround yourself with supportive people who affirm your experiences. And taking these steps can actually help people regain their sense of self and get clarity in some of these toxic, super shitty, narky relationships. What strategies have you found helpful in dealing with gaslighting? If you found this video insightful, share your thoughts in the comments. What resonated with you the most? Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.
Narcissists don't have friends, family, or anybody else. Who they do have is staff. People who end up working for the narcissist, whether they like it or not. This video will dive into how a person becomes a flying monkey, the circumstances around a person maybe not even knowing that they're a flying monkey, and what flying monkeys actually do when commanded by the ultimate puppet master, the narcissist. Quick definition here, a flying monkey is the term that describes somebody who carries out a narcissist's wishes. And these folks can end up doing a lot of a narc's dirty work for them. So how might somebody actually get sucked into this kind of a role? Number 1, grooming. Most people are love bombed to some degree by a narcissist. Love bombing can refer to a romantic kind of grooming and manipulation, but love bombing can also be called idealization. Narcs will use charm, flattery, gifts, lavishing attention, and other things on people in order to win them over and make the person feel very special and important. The narcissist might even present themselves as helpful, friendly, a poor little victim, or hell, even massively superior, whatever it is they have to do in order to gain a person's trust and, more importantly, gain their loyalty. Number 2, obligation. Narcissists, as I'm sure you know, love their guilt bombs, and they'll often pull other people into their charades and their schemes by making a person feel like they owe the narcissist something and making them feel guilty. Narcissists might even do a favor for this person or create a situation that they can call back on as they say, hey, remember when I did you that favor? Yeah, well, now it's your turn because I'm cashing it in. Number 3, exploitation. Narcissists are very good at finding people's weaknesses and vulnerabilities. If a narcissist knows what kind of insecurities a person has, they can use this, play it to their own strength, and get a nice little reward all their own. A narcissist can promise to help a person with something they're struggling with in return for help on whatever they want help with. Or they can just take full advantage of the weakness and use it against the person to manipulate them into helping. Number 4, isolation. Smear campaigning, spreading misinformation, and creating drama can and will cause rifts between people. Narcs will employ these tactics to pit people against each other. And once they've gotten 2 or more people to break a bond and go their separate ways, they'll swoop in and try to claim some of those people as sources that they can now use. If a particular person becomes very isolated, they'll become very lonely, and some can even become reliant on the narcissist for attention. Of course, the narc will use this to their full advantage. Number 5, reinforcement. If the flying monkey does what's asked of them by the narcissist, the narc might choose to reward their good little staff member. Gifts, praise, and even some special privileges can be doled out by the narc to keep this person nice and happy and compliant and continuing to do whatever the narc wants them to do. Now, similarly, bad behavior can lead to punishment, urging the person to act right or suffer the consequences. It's often a mix of psychological manipulation, some social dynamics, and of course, those personal vulnerabilities that lead somebody into kind of becoming a flying monkey. The role does typically involve a combination of course, things like coercion, persuasion, and exploitation of the relationship. Dealing with narcissistic abuse can be challenging, and for most, traditional therapy settings aren't the best fit. That's why I offer a unique over the phone chat service with flexibility so you can easily incorporate it into your busy life. You can chat with me, somebody who has walked a similar path and genuinely gets what you're going through. My service offers a relaxed and affordable option that won't add to your stress. I keep things casual and very supportive, far removed from rigid formal environments that you're probably more familiar with. We can talk as friends, just two survivors with a common bond. I can provide practical tips and exercises that are tailored to your specific needs and your situation. My approach is very different. It's grounded in empathy, validating your stories and experiences, and a real world understanding of this disorder and getting through it. If you have questions or need more information, feel free to reach out. There are ways to do that on the screen for you now. I'm a phone call away and here to support you every step of the way through your healing journey. Now, believe it or not, some folks have no idea they're actually working for a narcissist. And here are some things that might happen that kind of cause this. Number one, deception. Narcs are just so good at twisting things to make themselves look like the victim or the hero, but never the bad guy. They might convince their flying monkeys they're actually helping a good cause or standing up for themselves, even though the actions are really hurting other people. Along the same lines, a narcissist can be deceptive towards someone who's a flying monkey by getting them to think that they're closer to the narcissist than they really are. You might hear something like, well, come on, you're my best friend, or something like, I need you to do me this favor. And, since we're basically dating, I know I can count on you. Even though neither one of those things are true, but they will tell people that in order to get them to think they have a stronger bond than they really do. Number two, entanglements. If someone is very emotionally attached to a narcissist, they might not even notice how the narc is using them. Their strong feelings and again, loyalty can cloud their judgment, making them more likely to follow the narc's wishes without really seeing the harm they're causing. They might think that they're supporting or helping the narcissist, while actually they're being manipulated into just doing the narcissist's bidding. Number three, awareness. Flying monkeys might not fully grasp how narcissistic abuse operates or really see the real nature of the narcissist's behavior. They could believe that they're just simply again supporting a friend or family member who just seems to be in trouble. Because they don't understand the full picture, they might not realize that their actions are part of a bigger plan to undermine or harm somebody else. They might be acting out of genuine concern or loyalty without really seeing that they're being manipulated into working for a narc. Number four, justifications. Now, some flying monkeys might tell themselves their actions are okay or even necessary. They might believe the person being targeted by the narc just deserves what's happening to them, or that they're helping the narcissist to fix a problem. This way, they feel better about what they're doing, even if it's actually causing harm. The role of the flying monkey is to just kind of help reinforce the narcissist's version of events, convincing other people to see things their way, even if it's twisted. They might also stir up conflicts to further isolate targets and create chaos in their life. In some cases, flying monkeys are tasked with keeping tabs on people, reporting back to the narcissist, hoovering and reaching out to people for the narcissist, and making sure the narcissist has full control. They might pressure other people to do what the narc wants or downplay concerns that people have about the narcissist, making them feel that their worries are invalid. Some flying monkeys just honestly act like everything's normal, masking the narcissist's abusive behavior and making it harder for the target to get any kind of support. They can also serve as a buffer, passing along messages or demands from the narcissist for the narcissist to be able to avoid that direct confrontation. Overall, narcs just use flying monkeys to keep the control over everything and, of course, avoid taking responsibility for their harmful actions.
So, who were the flying monkeys that you had to deal with? And what was it they were attempting to do on behalf of the ultimate puppet master? Tell me about it down in the comments. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. I talk a lot in my videos about how a narcissist needs power and control in order to feel supreme in all of their relationships, not just romantically. This carries over with their family, friends, and even the people that they work with. A narcissist needs to steamroll everybody. In order to achieve and maintain the power and control, narcissists will try their best to completely destroy those around them. And there's a reason why they do it. This video talks about why the narcissist has that need to destroy and how they go about doing this. Love bombing can feel amazing, blissful, euphoric even. However, this is one of the first things done to a person to gain power and control. In actuality, love bombing is dangerous, unhealthy, and abusive. Love bombing, first and foremost, destroys standards and boundaries that you might have. You accept things and maybe even do things you wouldn't normally do because you're infatuated by this person. This is nothing, though, compared to what happens once you move into the devaluing phase of the narcissistic cycle. I don't have to explain how you being treated worse makes you harder to control than when you're being love bombed. Once loss of control begins to happen, a narcissist will panic and use even more tactics to try to maintain the power. When you're being devalued, not only will you be lied to and gaslighted, you can also be ridiculed, teased, made fun of, and triangulated with other people. And this is in order to get control and keep it, especially when times are bad with a narcissist. They need to completely break your spirit or at least try like hell. When you're scared, possibly isolated, confused by gaslighting, and fed a false narrative, you don't struggle around as much. You don't try to leave. The trauma bond has worked, it's doing its job, and now you might fear losing this person because you're addicted to them. Along the same lines, devaluing ramps up when you decide to step out of line, if you try to argue with them, if you try to get them to treat you with decency and respect. You will find the devaluing gets worse. They might even become filled with rage and lash out at you, guilt tripping you into thinking that all the bad stuff happening is not because of this narcissistic person, but it's because of you. Another time that a narcissist might try to destroy you is when you hurt them. Now, let me be clear. Most of the time, the hurt and the pain that you end up causing to a narcissist is not something that you even mean to do. Simply asking them questions, fact checking them, constructive criticism, and even offering just simple advice to them can really hurt them and their ego. They are very easy to offend. Now, doing these things, whether you're trying to hurt them or not, will not be tolerated by a narcissist. They can again let loose with narcissistic rage. Threats might begin to come in. You might be told in one way or another that if you don't knock this off, they'll leave you. But what happens is most of the time, these things get flipped around onto you. And one of those examples might be something along the lines of, you're seriously asking me if I'm sure we need to take a right turn up here? Oh, if you're so smart, why didn't you drive? Oh, that's right. I forgot. This is my car. You don't have a car, do you? Because you work that shit job where you don't make any money. I think I know where I'm going. Why don't you just do us both a favor and shut up? When I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. And just like that, you've been torn down, made to feel stupid, and talked to like you're absolute trash. Not a shred of respect anywhere to be found. These are the remarks made by an abuser to keep you quiet. They felt that their genius had been threatened, and now they're going to let you know exactly where you can stick all of your thoughts, feelings, and your questions. And the narcissist will keep this up. It's now your punishment for misbehaving. And they hope that over time you become so broken down that you just stop really doing anything. This is the conditioning done throughout the whole relationship that is meant to have you feeling so low, downtrodden, and depressed that you won't leave. And that's what's wild about this is the worse you're made to feel,
the less likely you are to leave. The addiction, that trauma bond, will swing into full effect. And just knowing that you might make them mad will lead to you walking on eggshells as you're dodging around everything that you know you can't say or do because you might be punished, or even worse, they might leave you. That taps into the fear and insecurity because of them love bombing you. Dealing with the aftermath of a toxic relationship will have you feeling like you're in a maze that you just cannot escape. I specialize in guiding folks through the messiness of narcissistic personality disorder. My counseling and coaching is different from others. It happens over the phone so you can relax in your own space and just talk with me like a friend. No cold clinical office vibes or one size fits all roadmaps, because they don't work. Every session is about what you need when you need it, and you will get personalized support from me, a survivor who knows what works. If you are ready to chat with me about what you've been going through, you can click the link at the top of the screen for you now. You can send a text or an email to get started today. And you'll find as you're walking on these eggshells, the list of things you're not allowed to do or say will become very lengthy. And I'm sure if you reflect back, you'll see that you were never really allowed to do anything other than serve them and be a good little source of supply. You can't ask them a question, but when you're at dinner at that restaurant, you can pick up the check. You can't bring up something that they do that hurts you, like lying or cheating, but you can clean up the house and do their laundry and go to bed with them. And guess what? You can shut the hell up while you do it too. Aren't you just a lucky little duck? You deciding to leave them will also have a narcissist jumping to destroy you. A narcissist will leave you when they are damn good and ready. They have to make sure they have what they feel is a better source of supply on deck, waiting to go. They have to make sure they have money, whatever it is they need in order to jump from one supply to another. Remember, this is about power and control. This all needs to happen on their terms, exactly the way they want it to go. And when it doesn't, when you leave, file for divorce, break up, move out, whatever you need to do, the narcissist seeks to destroy you. This person might try to hurry up and dump you first in one of those good old, you can't fire me, I quit kind of things. If you just simply say maybe you need some time away from them, they might quickly discard you, grab some new supply, because they'll begin to fear abandonment. They can use more scare tactics in these moments as well. They might even threaten to, how do you delicately say, not be around anymore. They might tell you that they're going to destroy your property, take your kids, get you fired, and so on, in order to make you stay. The narcissist will also launch a smear campaign, or more accurately, kick that campaign into high gear and begin to slander you to other people, spreading rumors about you to get people on their team against you. You might be told, go ahead, try to leave. You can't make it without me anyway. Or go ahead, leave. You're never going to find anybody else like me anyway. I do want to address another point here. Yes, a narcissist can absolutely destroy a person. However, are they actually dead set on this? Is that their primary goal? Most of the time, they really aren't set out on this. Now, stay with me. Narcissists, true narcissists, are extremely selfish creatures. I promise you, all these people are concerned with is them and getting what they want. Like my example of asking the narcissist if they were sure they needed to make the right turn, and the narcissist lashed out. It was done to keep you compliant, to shut you up and to keep you in line so that you'll stay in the relationship longer and allow the narcissist to continue to have access to you. You're gaslighted, you're fed a false narrative, not to make you crazy, although that is what happens, but it's all done to keep you around until the narcissist decides they don't want you around anymore. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, the lower you feel, the more likely you are to stay, and that is what this is really all about. Yes, they'll punish you, and it might even seem like they're doing some of these things to get a sick kick out of it.
And I'll never say that they don't do those, but it's just to feed the ego. Even purposefully hurting you has another agenda, not just to make you feel bad, but to make them feel good. The sad truth about narcissism, survivor, is this has so little to do with you. It is far less about you and so much more about their selfish disorder and how they feel. Narcissism and those who have the disorder, there is just a level of selfishness with these people, survivor, that you will never know. Now, let me also be clear, there are people who love to see other people get hurt, to see others in pain, and to know that they've caused it. There are those who enjoy causing the pain. It's just not someone narcissistic. Some sociopaths and psychopaths enjoy things like this. I've even read some articles where some people talk about something they refer to as sadistic personality disorder. I'm not going to go into all of that. I'm not educated on it. But when it comes to narcissism, the pain, the hurt that you feel, the way they treat you is merely an afterthought. They are dead set on getting what they want. And in situations like this, it is power and control. They will do whatever needs to be done to make sure they get it. The way they destroy you, it is not their primary goal. They're just doing what they need to do, just like in love bombing. That's what they need to do to keep you in that moment. That eventually fades and you move into devaluing. It's a completely different way that they just keep you around longer. Being dead set on destroying someone just to make sure they fall, that's not narcissism. A person falling at the hands of a narcissist is just them on the hunt to get their needs met. That's it. No more and no less. Again, what you feel, what you're going through, what you've experienced, again, with someone narcissistic is collateral damage. So if you feel like you've experienced something more than just the aftermath of someone's shitty, selfish choices that have caused you pain, it might be more than narcissism. I will never be here to invalidate anyone's experience. A lot of narcs have a lot more than just narcissistic tendencies. Do you feel like maybe you were dealing with more than a narcissist? Share what you think about that and anything else down in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.
I don't always like to share what happened in my toxic relationship because I feel like my videos should be about survivors and not myself. A lot of information provided in all of my videos, however, does directly come from what I experienced. And so for this video, I'm just going to open up and share the top toxic narcissistic tricks that I fell for. So number one, I completely fell for the love bombing. And I've talked about love bombing a lot. I don't really feel like the love bombing that I received was anything different or unique or special. I was just really overwhelmed by how many texts and calls I was getting a day and how very complimentary they were. I have no shame in talking about how I soaked up all of this toxic love bombing because my self-esteem was incredibly low at that time. I had confessed feelings for a person who did not feel the same way as me, and I just wasn't feeling my best. And it seemed like literally at the most convenient time, the narcissist swooped in, like the vultures that they are, and began telling me everything that I wanted to hear. However, the funny thing is I didn't really want to hear it from the narcissist. I, of course, wanted to hear these things from the person who rejected me, but I accepted it from the narcissist. And I feel like this is important to recognize as we go through healing. The narcissist is not, in fact, the end-all be-all. The person love bombing me, again, really wasn't even who I wanted the attention from. It was just accepted. I would wake up to pages and pages of text messages every morning, someone begging to talk to me, to see me, to spend time with me. And this was a concept that was very new to me. I had never really dealt with anything like this before, so naively, I assumed it was genuine. I do remember having those moments of thinking, this is too good to be true, but damn, at that point in my life, I think I just overlooked it because I really needed it to be true. Number two, I fell for the power moves. I would get texts very late in the night, come over, I miss you, I want to see you, blah, blah, blah. And at the time, that toxicity
That struggle for power was misconstrued into how sweet they want to spend every waking second with me. I had many days going to work, being tired as hell, running on 2 hours of sleep, iced coffee, and a dream. But I was on cloud nine because I had spent hours talking about anything and everything with who I was told was my soulmate. What I wasn't realizing was how quickly I was handing over the power, the control, my self-esteem, and everything else in between. I was sacrificing so many things just to have those late nights. There were times I didn't even want to have those late nights, but I did because I began to be guilt-tripped and it made me feel terrible. They would pout, whine, tell me I was selfish. They weren't asking for much. It was a quick drive. Come on. Number 3. I fell for the extremely dangerous one-day wager. As this relationship progressed, it went downhill, as they all do. I was having a very, very hard time letting go and ending things. I knew it was the end long before the end actually happened. What started happening was talks about time. It became a new thing for a few months towards the end, where the narcissist needed so much time. Suddenly, they had so much they needed to sort out, so much they needed to do, so much thinking. They just needed time, and a little bit more time. And like I said, I fell for this very dangerous game. Lots of narcissists tell folks they need time, and some more time. And we give them that, thinking things are going to improve. But all it does is keep us hanging on longer. Honestly, things would have fallen apart months sooner if I hadn't have given the time. Instead of November, it would have been July. Not that that's a huge gap, but every relationship has a different time frame. At the end, all I really ended up doing was just giving this person the time they needed to seek out new supply as they kept me on the back burner, and they were very slowly able to make that transition and that jump from source to source. As a survivor, I provide personalized counseling sessions tailored to meet every survivor's unique needs. Whether you're struggling with self-doubt, boundary setting, or just navigating through the aftermath of abuse, I'm here to listen, to validate, and guide you towards healing and feeling better. Reach out to get started today. The information you need is down in the video description. Number 4, I fell for the sob stories. A narcissist smells an empath like a shark just smells blood in the water, and I still can't figure out how they can really do it. Top reasons why certain people are chosen by narcissists is for how caring, understanding, forgiving, and thoughtful they are. Frankly, these are rare qualities and narcissists know it. So yes, throughout all my dealings with this person, I heard one harrowing tale of woe after another. The last partner left them, of course, and left him for the narc's best friend. I mean, can you just believe it? Their apartment burned down. The car got stolen. They got robbed. They were forced to leave their job because they were standing up for something they believed in. Shit. I mean, I heard it all in less than 2 years. This person died, that person died, and this and that, and oh my God, you had never heard a more Oliver Twist little tale of someone so sad and pathetic in your whole life. And I won't lie, hearing those things hurt me. I have sympathy for the mentally disturbed. Nonetheless, it made me jump in and give even more. That's exactly what the sob story is designed to do, to make you feel bad and give more and more. Love bombing, added in a little bit of guilt and a little bit of boo-hoo, poor me. And I was putty in the narcissist's hands. Number 5, I fell big time for future faking. Nothing, and I mean nothing, was more alluring to me, more euphoric and intoxicating than talking to this person about what our future was going to be like once we got married, had kids, and we were living the dream. We had conversations about naming our kids. I remember the names that we picked, where we were going to live, and how one day, not now, of course, but one day it was going to be perfect. It took me far too long to put 2 and 2 together as to why we couldn't make it perfect now in that moment, you know? Every time something was wrong, it was just quickly swept under the rug, and future faking came in to save the day, made all the goals, made all the plans, but it seemed that we could just never quite get there. Number 6, I fell for the underdog. A very common fairy tale that narcs love to share is how everyone's against them, everyone hates them, and everybody is out to get them. Now, some narcs have way more of this paranoia than others do. As mine had substance abuse problems, I think this made the paranoia even worse. But most narcs are paranoid to a certain degree. I mean, duh. Yeah, you keep screwing over everybody you know, and yeah, you're going to start sleeping with like one eye open and looking over your shoulder everywhere you go. So when this person was paranoid, it was always because something bad had happened through no fault of their own, of course. That classic narky lack of responsibility. I lost my job, but you don't understand. They were unreasonable. Somebody was out to get me. It was quit or be fired. You don't get it. I had special circumstances. Blah, blah, blah. Insert more sob stories here. And I call this falling for the underdog because these people pretend to be so put upon and so wronged. And I guess just for me personally, it taps into my nature of healing and fixing and wanting everything to be good and wanting everyone to be happy. I root for the underdog, and I think a lot of people do. We take these people under our wing, so to speak, and we are convinced that we will love them back to life. We will help them and bring them back from the brink of death or, whatever the case may be. We'll just be their lifelong cheerleader and everything they need. So these are some of the tricks that I fell for when I was dealing with a narcissist. If nothing else, maybe this will show survivors that it happens to everybody. It doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't make you anything. I also hope that maybe this will show some people that you can do amazing things even after narcissistic abuse. It doesn't have to rule you or own you or control you. Healing is absolutely possible. Moving on is possible. And getting away from a narcissist is really the best choice that you will ever make in your life. If you would like to share with me some things that happened to you, of course, do that down in the comments. If you found my video enjoyable, useful, helpful in any way, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. It's free and it helps my channel reach people across the platform and across the globe, which has been my mission now for over 5 years. I post videos on narcissism almost daily. Thank you for your consideration on subscribing. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. Narcissists are complete control freaks, and there are several ways that a narcissist can go about making sure they always have the ultimate power. So here is how a narcissist has complete control over you using only their cell phone. Number 1, manic panic. A narcissist will keep you in line by randomly sending you those text messages that say some panic-inducing things. Something like, well, I guess I might not have a job by the end of the day. Or, oh, great, a car accident. Just what I wanted to do today. Now you get this very baiting and worrisome text. But then, no follow-up information. So what do? You do what any other human being would. You text and you call, and in some cases frantically. You leave a voicemail, you're trying to reach out, and so on. The narc sees this level of worry and, of course, equates this to how much you care and worry about them and love them. It makes them feel very in control and extremely powerful. Number 2, the location check. A lot of narcissists will become obsessed with where you are and what you're doing every second that you're not in their line of sight. So what are they going to do? They call, they text, and they demand to know everything happening around you at all times. And they don't care what you're doing or how important that is. If you're working or driving, whatever the case, they don't care. Now, of course, this is all under the guise of, well, they just want to make sure you're okay. They care about you. And if you give them a hard time, you will be instantly hit with that guilt trip that you've probably already been hit with. Well, fine, if you're going to act like such a bitch, I'm just not going to check in on you anymore. I'm sorry I love you. I'm sorry I care about you. They might even demand that you video call or send photos to prove where you are. And it's to remind you who is in charge, and again, gives them those really good feelings of power, superiority, and being all-seeing, all-knowing. Number 3, the bailout. Similar to the first point of causing you to panic and then they temporarily ghost you, they can otherwise leave you on red, and that can cause you to call and text and wonder why they just completely bailed out on the conversation. Narcissists have an extremely short attention span. If you're suddenly hung up on, they're rushing you off the phone, they're leaving you on red, more than likely somebody else has them entertained. Number 4, wrong person. You've got to love the messages. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to text you that. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to pocket dial you. This is a very common tactic that narcissists love to use to hoover. But I'm going to get to that in a little bit here in the video, so stay tuned. But doing things like this plants seeds of wonder, worry, and jealousy into your mind, just to name a few things. This helps them keep control of you. You, of course, will want to know, well, who was the text meant for if it wasn't meant for you? If they pocket dialed you, why is your number still in their phone? And this might even get you to reach out and ask them those questions. And then, of course, they're going to scold you for your jealousy. That's what you get for your trouble. Number 5, the lame songs. Oh my God. We all know the lame songs. We all have this person, the lame ass, who sends you those songs and those text messages. Hey, stranger, heard this song, thought of you, hope you're good. Blech, we've all heard it. Never fall for the lame ass songs when they do this. It's really pathetic, and it's also meant, of course, to love bomb you, to suck you back in and prey on the whole nostalgia thing. Remember when we did this or did that, whatever. Also, when you think about it, it does control your emotions. It's what it's designed to do, to control your emotions and make you feel all soft and fuzzy and love bomby. But it also is very lazy when you actually stop and think about it for a second. They just sent you a song or sent you some lyrics. They couldn't even be bothered to use words they choose and put them in their own order that they feel appropriate. Nah, they just sent you a really cliche, crappy love song. As a survivor myself, I know that the path to recovery and healing is not easy. There are hardships and so much pain along the way. I also know how lonely this can be. Our friends and family don't really understand, and they also very quickly tire of hearing our traumas and what we're going through. They can't understand, and they just don't know. That's why I offer a way for you to share your experience and receive support right over the phone. I provide counseling sessions and chat sessions that are tailored to what you need. I'm here to listen, validate, and guide you towards healing. You can reach out today to schedule an appointment to talk with me. Everything you need is available on the screen and down in the video description. Number 6, the dirty stuff. Nothing says power and control like getting people to do things that they might not feel completely comfortable doing, or something that a person might find humiliating or embarrassing. Narcs will often ask for things like videos, nude photos, uncomfortable sexual conversations, things like sexting and other topics that a person might not want to deal with or participate in. And not going with the flow will get you guilted and devalued, as well as gaslighted, as you're told that you're the one that has the issue. And it's not a very big deal. Everybody does this. You need to do it too. Absolutely do not fall for this. Nobody needs compromising photos or videos of you. Nobody. Enough people do that on the internet for a job, and they don't mind it. So you don't need to get mixed up in that. Don't fall for somebody else's need for power. It's pathetic and sad. Most of the time when you're asked to provide these things, it's so that that person has ammunition to use against you later. It's to see, can they get you to do something embarrassing, humiliating, or something you're uncomfortable with. This is all about control and power. Do not give in. Along the same lines, if somebody sends you those things, do not take advantage of their obvious low self-esteem. Number 7, haha, get ignored. I'm sure by now you're noticing a pattern that the narcissist will call, leave a message, text, whatever. And then when you reach out and get back to them, they completely ignore you. And once more, it sends you into panic, as we've already talked about.
Ignoring you, ghosting you, cutting communication is something that a narcissist does frequently. They need to see repeatedly that you freak out, that you overreact, that you care, that you want to know what's going on. They love to know that them cutting the communication makes you upset. It gets you to jump, it gets you to move into action. They feel good when someone is always fussing over them, so they can purposefully ignore you. Number 8. Piss poor etiquette. Don't think that just because a narcissist is rude to you, that they aren't rude to other people too. You all know this. Their noses are stuck in that phone when they're hanging out with you, and when they're with others, they're texting and calling you too. And this poor etiquette is honestly just a great way to keep everybody in line and under control. And again, makes the narcissist feel powerful. They might be with you, but they're texting somebody else. They have control of two people simultaneously. And the more we allow them to act this way, the more a narcissist will continue to disrespect us and use this as a way to hold power, teaching you just how unimportant you really are. Number 9, incoming Hoovers. I knew we'd get back here. The Hoovers. 99% of all Hoover attempts take place over the phone. And there's a very easy answer to why that is. It's so easy. A text, a call, easy peasy. And if you don't answer, no sweat. They just keep moving through their Rolodex on to the next victim that they want to reunite with. A Hoover is nothing to be happy about. Hoovers are desperation moves used by narcs when they need somebody else. Typically a sign that they're having a hard time obtaining new sources, or a new source has already been tapped out. It's all about power. Can they get you to reach out and deal with them again? How much power do they still hold over you? How else do narcs use their manipulations and cell phones to control you? Share with me down in the comments. If you'd like to support me and my channel, consider becoming a channel member for $1 a month. My goal is to reach every survivor with my videos across the globe, and your generosity today makes all the difference in the world, and I thank you for your consideration. Thank you so much for listening today. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.
Social media. What an amazing invention. Never before have we humans had the privilege to communicate with other humans halfway down the block or halfway across the world in record time. And now all narcs use it for is to humble brag, boast, start drama, and cry for attention. Narcissists use social media to carry out their incredibly toxic agenda and play all of their little games. And this video is going to discuss some of the more popular games narcs play on social media. Game number 1. I need all that you've got. The number one thing that a narcissist is going to use social media for is to love bomb other people and, of course, try to hook as many different supply sources as possible. And that's not all. Along with love bombing, social media is a prime place to be able to hoover back old sources of supply, or supply that maybe they just got tired of for a minute, they put it down, and now they want to pick it back up again. Don't allow yourself to get sucked in by love bombing online. Learn some of the key signs that you are being love bombed. For example, they want to know everything about you really fast. They want to dump all of their information on you. Everything just overall goes very, very quickly. Not allowing yourself to get sucked in by recognizing that toxicity is the best way to just avoid all of this garbage. Game number 2. It's all about me. And this really is the pinnacle of narcissism right here. Narcs will post certain things on their social media that overinflate their sense of self-importance. Maybe something about how vital they are to the company they work for. I mean, surely it would just crumble to the ground and burst into flames if they took a sick day. You know what I mean? Narcs do so much attention-seeking behavior. Boost their self-esteem, all these things to make them feel good about themselves. Maybe things about how they're 2 steps ahead. They knew this before it happened, or they jumped on this. They took advantage of this deal. They can also do something called projecting their dominance, where they're boasting and they're cocky. You can't mess with them. They're bad. They make all the rules. They're untouchable. And all the posts about a narcissist you will find are just very me, or they, I guess, in this instance, centric. It's all about them. And of course, we have to mention that social media is used by narcissists to seek validation. That is one of the biggest games they play. I won't mention any names here, but I know of a celebrity or two, and I'm sure you do too, who post things on their social media. And if it doesn't quite get the traction that they're looking for, that post is quickly removed and will be reposted later. Now that is some narc shit right there. You can actually buy followers if you didn't know that. Because I really can't stress enough how unimportant so much social media is. So you can buy followers, you can buy subscribers, you can buy likes and the little hearts, you can buy all that shit online. Now, if YouTube or whatever finds out, they can ban you for doing that because it's not authentic growth. But you can buy popularity on the internet. So I again stress authenticity is not at all what's happening in so much social media. So don't put a whole lot of stock in it. Game number 3, narcs absolutely fight dirty. A narcissist boasting online is gross and annoying and all the attention seeking and all that garbage, but these people also know how to show you that they truly have nothing left in their life worth fighting for, because when they fight, it is low down and dirty. They're always posting something to stir up the shit, something dramatic. They don't like this person or that person. Very inflammatory posts and photos to bait people into arguments and clashing together. Narcs will start rumors about people. They troll people. They might even pit people against each other, getting them to attack each other, shaming, blaming, humiliating. There is no level that a narcissist won't stoop to in order to keep that drama going. And it is so vital not to get mixed up in anything like that. We need to be able to identify when someone is posting something that is just meant to piss other people off and maybe even meant to make you upset, and go, you know what? I really choose not to participate in this fight that 16 other kids are going to engage in. I'm going to be the adult here. If you would like information on speaking with me one-on-one to get some support for dealing with a toxic narc, you can text the number on the screen. You can also call that number, press 1, and have that information sent right to your phone. You can send me an email, or you can actually visit my website if you'd like to do that. All this information is available for you on the screen now and down in the video description. Game number 4, guess who I am. I could be an international spy. Could you imagine, though? But if we can say all kinds of lies on social media, so can a narcissist. And boy, oh boy, do they really take the opportunity to be anyone. And they can become quite a few different people. Let's talk about some of the people that narcs are going to play online. Let's start with the victim. Posting sob stories, everything is so terrible. They've had the worst luck. These are the biggest victims with the worst circumstances you have ever heard of. On the flip side, narcs will also play the hero or the savior, rescuing this and that, giving money here and there, this and that, charitable work. They're always looking out for somebody else. Funny how this is only done when someone's looking, when a camera's on, or when they feel like they need to prove something. So who is the narc, really? I mean, that takes at least 6 months to find out. But let's roll on to the next game, which we can kind of lump with this one. Number 5, surprise, I'm not who you think I really am. And this is the game where the narc feeds you and others the false narrative, who the narcissist maybe wishes they were, but it's still the false narrative they're going to feed you. They post how perfect they are. Nothing ever goes wrong for them. They have no weaknesses. They are perfection. There's no sadness, no weakness, no insecurities. They are very in control. Again, more of somebody posting what they want people to see and hiding all of the stuff that makes them, honestly, just like us. Game number 6, be very, very quiet. Sometimes it's about what isn't happening. You can get blocked by a narcissist out of nowhere. and unblocked and blocked again, get a silent treatment. They're going to leave you on red. They can ghost you, delete you, add you back. Anyway, cutting off communication is punishment from a narcissist. But also, it's just what happens when they don't find it beneficial to talk to you. And in all honesty, you're not always beneficial to talk to. Nobody is. A lot of people ask me things like, well, why don't these people say goodbye? Why don't they give me closure? Why don't they just have a conversation and end things and move on? Why do they do what they do instead, which is nothing? Well, one, it helps to keep a door open. I got a video coming on that. But two, you're not a person to this person. Narcissists don't value people. You're not a person, you're a thing. You serve a purpose. So let me ask you this. What do you do with your washing machine when you're not washing clothes? Even if you're in an apartment or a condo and you have a community laundry room or you go to the laundromat, whatever you do, what do you do with any washing machine when you're not washing clothes? If laundry day for you is Wednesday and today is Sunday, well, what of the washing machine? Well, nothing. It's there, it's going to sit there, and you don't need it right now, but it's going to sit there until you need it again. And the thing about it is while you're not using it, you don't worry that that's going to hurt the washing machine's feelings. It doesn't have feelings and you don't care. That's how you're treated by somebody with this disorder. You're the washer. Or hell, if you want to be the dryer, respectively, you can be that too. They go dark and they don't care. You're not serving the purpose right now. Maybe you will later. Maybe you won't. Maybe they'll head back to the laundromat. Maybe they'll find another washing machine. You aren't serving the purpose. They go dark, they go silent, and they don't care. That's the way that narcissists behave. You are an inanimate object. This video would go on forever if I listed every game that narcs play on social media and all the different garbage that they do, like fishing for compliments and attention. We didn't even get into all of that, so many others. So tell me a game that I didn't mention in this video down in the comments. Also tell me, what games have you actually seen narcs play before online, and did you have to deal with it? What did you do? How did you handle it? Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself. Some of the signs of narcissistic rage are extremely obvious, and other ones, not so much. This video will tackle all things rage. Signs of narcissistic rage. I'm going to focus on more of the subtle ones. I'm going to review the causes, why this happens. I'll toss in some examples of these things along the way. And most importantly, I want to discuss some ways to help if you have to deal with a nasty narc who is unleashing some of this rage. When most people think of rage or narcissistic rage, I feel like a lot of us picture the same thing. Somebody who's red in the face and they're yelling and screaming, maybe even waving their arms around frantically, throwing things, maybe tearing up property, or maybe even getting a little handsy with somebody, or multiple people if they think they're some kind of badass. And for some narcs, that's exactly how they rage. This is how the more overt narcissist will let loose. The more extroverted, loud, obnoxious narc will go this route. Be very loud, be very animated, overall more destructive, and way more dramatic. The calm, more covert narcissist can also absolutely have moments of narcissistic rage. But like everything else, they just do everything a little bit more quietly than a more overtly styled narcissist. Whereas the overt is more aggressive, you will find coverts are far more passive-aggressive with their rage, but it's definitely still there. Don't be fooled. Just because someone is more covert, more quiet, more slimy, sneaky, and slippery doesn't mean that they don't have fits of rage. The difference can be a more overt kind of narcissist will yell, scream, throw something, maybe punch the wall. A more covert style narc will grab the car keys calmly, quietly, and walk out to the car and just tear up that car and key it all over, and then walk back in the house without a word, set the keys down, and go right back to watching television. Now, both of those outbursts are incredibly impulsive, immature, and filled with rage and aggression. It just comes out in different ways, depending on what kind of a narcissist everybody is dealing with. There is definitely more than one type of rage, and it's not always what we picture when we think about it in our mind. Things like silent treatments can actually be a part of the more passive aggressive kind of narcissistic rage. Typically, rage goes from 0 to 60 in no time at all, and it will actually end and fall apart just as abruptly and be over. It's an obvious lack of control. The narc cannot control their anger or really any other emotion for that matter. A huge sign that you're dealing with someone narcissistic and that they're having this fit of rage is when this person begins to act this way and get upset over something that nobody in this world has any business being upset about. Something that is just the smallest deal of all the small deals in the world. The restaurant might say, "Hey, listen, we don't have Pepsi. Is Coke okay?" And boom, like seriously, it can be over something that small or over absolutely nothing. And then just as fast and furious as the storm rushes in, the outburst passes and it's gone again. And as with all things narcissism, what went wrong will never be talked about, will never be discussed, and will never be solved. It's, it's wrong, boom, tantrum over, and moving on. If you would like some information on speaking with me one-on-one to get some support for dealing with a toxic narcissist, you can text the number that's on the screen. You can also call that number if you would like. Press 1 and have information sent right to your phone. You can send me an email, or you can even visit my website. All of this information is available on the screen for you now and at any time right down in the video description. As far as what actually triggers narcissistic rage, it all really revolves around, of course, these are narcs we're talking about here, the ego, the self-esteem, and the ego. They're absolute slaves to the ego. They always need to feel good and strong, valuable, important, and perfect. So when anyone ruins that, or they feel even remotely threatened that something might pop that little fantasy bubble that they live in, that person will find themselves on the ouch end of some narcissistic rage, unfortunately. If, for example, you call them out on their bullshit, if you give them any kind of criticism whatsoever, even the kindest, most criticism where you're not trying to hurt them, you're actually trying to help them. Anything where they feel like their ego is threatened can trigger narcissistic rage. Let's also not forget, along with all those other things, if something just doesn't go the way they want, if you don't do something they want, if they don't get their way, they act like a child, and even then someone could be under the gun for some rage. Of course, when the ego is threatened, when the self-esteem is threatened or feels deflated, a lot of people call this a narc or narcissistic injury. The self-esteem, the precious little ego, does feel threatened. It feels like, maybe something's happening here. The narc will very quickly get defensive and go on the attack. And if they feel vulnerable, oh my, we know what a weakness that a narcissist thinks that is. So if they feel any vulnerability shifting in their direction, they can absolutely let loose. Curiously to me, a rage fit can also occur if the narcissist loses being the center of attention. This is wild and fascinating stuff when you start learning about this disorder. Because really, it all just relates back to a loss of power. Like I said, they have to feel powerful, in charge, and in control. A million things can upset them, unfortunately. We will never be able to list all of them. It's someone who doesn't have good control, and they can produce potential rage really for any reason at any time. With that being said, aggressive aggression, passive aggression, whatever it is, dealing and coping with the rage is really all we can do. It's a hard pill to swallow, but we can't change these folks, nor can we reason with a person who has an illness that thrives on being unreasonable. You cannot win a war with somebody who doesn't want to win. They want to just keep fighting. So, some of the best things that you can do in these scenarios are to be very gray rock with a narcissist, as cool, calm, collected as possible, also while saying as little as you possibly can. And learning some detachment skills can help you not get so affected when faced with the rage, learning to not take the rage so personally. Narcs love to watch you freak out, so do your very best, again, to be detached and not overreact to their bullshit. A lot of times the rage is coming from threats and fear, and they want to scare you into giving them back the power and the control. And when we appear unfazed by that, it can stop happening. Boundaries are huge. Survivor, you do not have to tolerate someone yelling at you, screaming, name calling, or anything else that a grown-ass man or woman, respectively, is doing. They do not have the right to treat you like you are not a human being. If someone is not respecting you nor your boundaries, that is not the place for you, and it's something to work on, getting your boundaries and your standards. Also, distancing yourself from this person, like literally physically distancing yourself if you feel that you might be in trouble, and also backing off in other ways on other forms of communication as well. This isn't anyone that you want to have a lot of contact with, and you know it. If you feel immediately threatened, attempt to empathize and validate. If you feel like maybe you can extinguish the flame, go for it. Give the narc what they seem to need so desperately, kiss their ass, rock the little baby in there snugly until they're okay again, and then resume the immediate distancing of yourself. It's not my favorite thing to say to people, but narcs are all about the ego, and we really shouldn't be. Sometimes to be safe, you have to do shit that you don't like to do. Like say sorry when you're not sorry. Say you were wrong when you know you weren't, and say that the sky is green to calm down an adult who is having a mental meltdown and being very inconsolable and irrational. Sometimes you just have to understand it's not about fighting. It's not about trying to prove you're right. It's about a resolution and a solution, and sometimes giving in is the solution, and it will always be the solution when the other person is not looking for one. Survivor, the true best thing that you can do, besides get the hell away from these people, is to remember all of this, the outbursts, the issues, the love bombing, devaluing, gaslighting, manipulation, all these issues have nothing to do with you. Not a damn thing. It's not your fault nor your issue that the narc has a fragile little ego and very imbalanced self-esteem. Do not believe the narrative of someone who doesn't have your best interest in mind. Do not go by the play-by-play and the narrative of a person who wants to blame you for their issues. They need to work on that. That's not your fault. This person has no control over their emotions. That is a personal issue, and you are not the person with that issue. Remember this as you're dealing with this hothead who rages. Share any thoughts that you have with me about narcissistic rage down in the comments. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself. You and I both know it's not in our best interest to lie to anybody about anything. Not only is it deceptive and very manipulative, you know that it can snowball out of control quickly. Then you have to lie to cover this lie and then the other lie. And it just becomes a mess. And it'll do that in the blink of an eye. Well, Survivor, a narcissist has like a whole totally different idea about lying to people. So here are nearly a dozen benefits to lying that explains why a narc does it constantly. Number 1, lying helps avoid confrontation. Most narcissists really don't like to fight. They're non-confrontational. And the ones that do like to fight only like to fight with people that they can beat and only like to fight when they can win. So most of the time, they're really not interested. Lying helps diffuse. a lot of really tense situations so that the narcissist doesn't have to get involved and they don't have to fight. And especially one where they might not be able to win or they just don't want to deal with it. Lying avoids the confrontation. Number 2, they lie so that they can duck the responsibility. We all know that a narcissist won't take accountability for the things that happen in their life, especially when these things don't go the way that they were supposed to. A quick lie and a little bit of blame shifting can make the problems of a narc somebody else's problems. And this allows the person to kind of skirt past being a responsible adult. Number 3, lies keep up the flawless persona. Narcs really like to come off like they're superior to everybody. They're a genius, they're never wrong, they're 5 steps ahead, except they're not. So lies have to be told in order for them to keep that fake narrative running, that they know everything, they're never wrong, all-seeing, all-powerful, and they need to keep up that look of perfect flawlessness. Number 4, obviously when they lie, they get attention. Lies help a narcissist get sympathy, empathy, support, supply, attention, admiration, and everything else in between that they're looking for. Narcissists will tell sob stories and old tales to play on people to get what they want. This shows that narcs are incapable of getting things for themselves. I knew a person once who all they did was brag about their job and how they got their job, and it was good and it paid well, until it kind of came out that somebody else told them that they should apply for this job. And this person also put in a good word for this individual who landed the position. So all this person did was show up on time and answer a few questions correctly, but was acting like a big shot. Like they scrounged around and dug around until they hit pay dirt and found the job and fought and clawed their way in, and they had to beat 10 other executives for the job. And it kind of sounds like all they had to do to get in was like open the damn door. So lies boost the ego and help these sad ass people get what they need. If you'd like to talk with me one-on-one about what you're going through with a narcissist, you can text, call, email, or visit my website for information. It is all on the screen for you now and available at any time down in the video description. Number 5, lying hides things. Well, of course it does. And of course, narcs love to hide things, mainly everything that they're afraid of. That's what we're going to talk about here in this point. And we all know that these losers are terrified of like everything. So lying hides the fears, the insecurities, the vulnerabilities. Remember, these are all seen as weaknesses by someone narcissistic. Also, it helps them hide or attempt to prevent exposure. Narcs can't let it get out that they fear love, commitment, intimacy, losing power, losing control, getting rejected, dumped, abandoned, death. They fear their feelings, themselves, and everyone else and everything in between. I mean, really think about it for a second, survivor. How much these people actually really have to hide in order to keep things looking under control. And this is just the way that they choose to do it. Number 6, maneuvering and managing is made possible by the lies. Narcs need to be able to make you do what they want when they want it. They need to be able to coerce you into giving them whatever it is they're looking for and making sure all of those needs are met. If they need money, or they tell you the car is broken down, they need a place to stay, they got bills, they lost their job, it is what they're going to do to kind of maneuver you and put you where they want you to be so that you will take care of whatever's going wrong. Remember, you're the problem solver. You're the one that needs to fix everything. A narcissist needs to be able to manage you as they see fit. They might even have to swing you onto the back burner because there's a new source and a new love interest, and they need you to shut up for a while. Whether they're pushing you away or pulling you closer, they need to be able to manipulate and manage you. Number 7, lies maintain power. And I've already said the word power a couple times, so let's address the narky elephant in the room here. A narc will tell any lie they need to if they feel they're losing grip on you or on the relationship and they need to get it back under control. They might lie or threaten to leave you if you don't shape up. They might tell you that they're talking to somebody else to try to make you jealous, to get you to knock off bad behavior. I won't go on about a list of lies that they could possibly tell. If you've been around this person for even a couple of months, you've heard more lies than I could even put into a video. Hey, that's an idea. What lies have you been told? Leave them down in the comments if you've been told any real doozies. Be tactful, be tasteful, but share with me down in the comments. Let me know what kind of lies these people are telling. Number 8, lies just flat out piss people off. A lie can sometimes be told to spark jealousy, to make a fight, make a thing, and get people extremely emotional. Sometimes, as sick as it is, this is really the only goal the narc has, to see if they can get you worked up and upset. I've said this before. I used to know a person who would bring up ridiculous topics of conversation that they were always so stupid. It was always some idiotic idea, a scheme, some garbage, and it would always fluff me up. And I would go, "What are you doing? You're crazy. Why would you think about that?" Blah, blah, blah. Until the day they told me one of their crazy ideas, and I went, "Yeah, that's nice." And I walked away. And suddenly the crazy stories with the lies and the bullshit and the things that were told to me, clearly to get a rise out of me, completely stopped and never happened again. Again, as sick as it is, sometimes the narcissist is just telling you these things to yank your chain and watch you get emotional. Number 9, the sneaky shit. Probably the most obvious one. Narcs lie because they're up to all kinds of shady shenanigans that they don't have any business doing. And I mean, just flat out, I don't have to give examples. They're shady, they're lying, they're conniving, and they're hiding things that they don't have any business doing. Number 10, winning and domination. Narcs are right fighters. They're not fighting to really prove anything. They just want to be right. They want to be right. They want to win. It helps them feel superior, and they seem to think that they look superior because they win every fight. So sometimes they will lie to you just to make themselves seem overpowering, boasting and boosting themselves through the lies until they seem intimidating. You don't go up against them. Even if you know what they're saying to you is a complete crock of shit, you won't say anything because you feel too inferior to go against somebody who's so dominating. So share with me the wildest lies that you've ever heard down in the comments, and tell me which of these things on my list do you think is the most common? What is it that they're just lying about all the time? Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself.
A common sign of narcissism is their refusal to take accountability and responsibility for their behavior. They do everything in their power to remove these things from their life completely. Blame shifting is a powerful manipulation tool that helps a narcissist achieve this. Everything is somebody else's fault, and a lot of times that somebody is you. Another key tool for a narcissist to make sure they never take responsibility for their toxic ways is projection. When a narcissist projects on you, they are taking their own poor, unacceptable qualities and they're flipping them around on to you. What does projection look like? What do they say when they're doing this? What are they trying to accomplish when they're projecting on you? Do they even know that they're doing it? This video contains all the answers, so let's go. Some common phrases that narcissists use when they're projecting on you. Number 1, you are absolutely impossible to communicate with. There are so many things wrong with this statement. Narcissists are, in fact, the ones who are very difficult to communicate with. Their natural defense when they feel backed into a corner is to cut communication. And you've probably dealt with this and witnessed it firsthand. You get a silent treatment. You get blocked and unblocked. They play the game with you. They hang up on you. You might even be ghosted. If they can't run away, maybe they'll stonewall you or just refuse to talk. They'll try to change the subject. They might even use word salad and begin just talking in complete gibberish, something that means absolutely nothing. Nothing, as you know, is ever going to be solved when it comes to a narcissist. Narcs are not interested in problem solving. The problems that you have,
They feel they're your problems. They don't have a problem with their cheating or their lying or their manipulation. They actually like things just the way they are. They're your problem. Therefore, if someone doesn't want to fix something, you will never come to a resolution, and they don't want to. So, what happens when these same conversations come up over and over? They simply cap the whole thing by just saying, "Oh my God, I'm not doing this with you again. You cannot communicate." And they make it all your problem. Number 2, you have major blank problems. So you can really fill in a lot of words here when it comes to the blank, but some of the most popular ones are you have mental problems, you have financial problems, you have problems with honesty, and then there's probably the most common and the most effective one, you have anger problems. We all know that narcissists have huge anger problems. Now, they don't all suffer from this narcissistic rage where they get super toxic and way out of control. Even a quiet, covert narcissist will be very passive aggressive and show a more subdued, hidden rage, but a rage and anger nonetheless. But we're talking about projection. A narc doesn't want to hear that they have anger problems, so it's taken and absorbed and tossed onto you. So you might hear something that sounds a little bit like this. Wow, look at you yelling right now. Look at the way you're behaving. You have no self-control. You're flying off the handle. You're raging and you're angry and you're swearing and you're yelling. Wow, look at you. You're an absolute child. You really might want to get help for some of that anger. You have a problem. You might hear something that's a combination of those phrases. You might actually be yelling. You might be out of control in the moment. The narcissist might have gotten you to the point where you do begin to react very negatively to them, but this is not a video for reactive abuse, so we'll have to pick up on that another time. Number 3, you are such a fraud. Fake, phony, whatever word you want to use, it doesn't really matter. This one is rich, coming from people who literally have a whole life with a fake persona as a fake person. Narcs want you to think all kinds of wild stories in the beginning when you meet them, right? Remember how nice they were, kind, sweet. Look, they adopt puppies and they're single-handedly curing homelessness. And yeah, no, these losers are making up their fake life from the get-go. And so the narc might say something to you like, your life out in public is a lie. Everybody knows you're not really that nice. Everybody knows that you're a fake. They might also say, you can fool other people, but I know you're a fake. Well, I guess it does take a phony to spot a phony, but I think in cases like this where a phony narc is calling you a phony, I think that's them kind of like picking up their own trashy, shitty scent. So maybe it's just them. If you'd like some help and support for what you're going through in a narcissistic relationship, you can set up a phone chat with me. You can call or text the number on the screen to get information sent right to your phone. You can visit my website, or you can send an email to get information on how my chats work and book some time to talk with me. All of that information is on the screen for you now and right down in the video description. Number 4, and a personal favorite of mine, you are so controlling. I love this one. I really love this one. These are the most controlling people you will ever meet in your life. They're doing so much stuff they have no business doing. They need to know everything all the time. Also, there are double standards, things you can't do that they most certainly can. We're controlling, they're bossy, demanding, the entitlement is strong with these folks, with their I'm the center of the universe having asses. But right, we're the ones that are controlling, survivor. Never forget that. So, when they call you controlling, it's really interesting. There's a very specific time when this comes into play. When you try to hold them to a standard, when you try to make them accountable, when you start using phrases of your own, like, hey, I actually don't appreciate that. I don't like that you're taking advantage of me. Stop it. Or you say, hey, don't talk to me like that. Hey, stop running around on me. Be an adult. Take care of your kids. Stop embarrassing yourself. Then and only then Do they flip and snare and call you controlling when you won't let them be the ass that they want to act like on a regular basis? Number 5, you have no empathy. I'm sorry, all of these make me laugh. Ooh, this is a good one. The hallmark of narcissism is a complete lack of empathy. You, however, will constantly be accused of this, especially when you won't feel sorry for them. There is a difference, believe it or not, between empathy, sympathy, and pity. Narcissists are looking for the pity party. They want everyone to feel sorry for them, and when you won't baby and blubber over them, they tell you what an emotionless robot you are, and that is simply not true. How long are you going to sit around and feel sorry for somebody who won't get up off their ass and do something, and they won't make any progress? They're drowning in their own problems that are a result of their actions. You know what? You're not going to get any pity. You might not get a whole lot of empathy from me either. You're there because that's where you want to be. Number 6, you are so shady. Now, this one boils down to you just can't be trusted. Narcs are notorious for having trust issues. They have a very sad misconception that everyone is the same kind of liar and swindler that they are. You might hear something like, hey, you never said you were going to go to the mall. I didn't know you were there. You said you were going to go over here and do this other thing. See, you're just a liar. You just do whatever you want. You don't communicate, and you're a big lying liar. Narcissists are very twitchy and quick to jump on every little thing that they feel that where they're going to catch you doing something. I mean, really, guilty conscience much? You'll notice narcissists' negative qualities are pushed onto you, or they're trying their very best to do all that blame shifting, which we talked about. But another thing I want to address with projection, they are blame shifting. It's, I know you are, but what am I? But there's also a high level of gaslighting that I just want to address like super quick. Gaslighting is combined with projection to confuse you. It can help ensure that you believe that you're hard to talk to, that you're the lying, cheating, trashy person, that you're the hothead. Narcissists get to make you out to be the bad guy, and they don't have to take responsibility for their really ugly qualities and traits. It can all be pinned on you or somebody else, but typically you. Everyone who studies narcissism, myself included, can and we do have different ideas about why they do the things they do, and are they aware that they're doing this. After almost 6 years of research, 5 years here on YouTube, and of course, having been through this myself, I feel that narcissists are doing this and projecting very subconsciously. I don't think they realize what's happening. I do believe that they need to make you out to be the bad guy. They don't like those uncomfortable feelings, and they don't want to take the responsibility. They don't want to deal with it. But I don't really think it ever gets any deeper than that. I feel like it just happens. The best way I can explain this, because I can only explain something if it makes sense to me. So here's how it makes sense to me. Do you ever go on autopilot? Like you're driving to work and then you pull into your parking spot and you're like, wow, I don't even remember driving here. But you turned, maybe you even stopped for coffee. You didn't run a red light. Like you knew what you were doing, but you weren't there. You do the laundry, but you're spaced out. And then the laundry's done and you're like, how did that even happen? Or like me, it's a hot mess and it takes all day, but you're still like, I just don't even recall anything. You did it, but you've done it so many times you don't even realize. Do you ever do something every day? Do you know why you do it? Do you know why you brush your teeth a certain way? Do you know why you get certain things from the grocery store? You've just done them so long that it just clicks. That's kind of how I feel a narc does things. They might know that they're doing it, but again, I don't think it ever gets any deeper. I just think it's second nature, like your laundry or your route to work. It's like in the back of your head and it just happens. That's the best way I can explain it, but they're doing this subconsciously, in my opinion, and I don't think they really realize what they're doing. What did the narcissist that you deal with say to project on you? Was it something on my list? And what did you say? How did you respond? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. Monkey branching is very common among narcissists. These are people who cannot even stand to be alone for 5 seconds. So it would be really natural that they would partake in this really toxic action known as monkey branching. And it's when someone in a committed monogamous relationship begins to date other people while they are still in their current relationship. Someone who's monkey branching will be texting, calling, flirting, and even going on dates with other people who are not their primary partner. As the narcissist holds on to you, they might feel themselves beginning to slip as if they're holding on to a branch and they're losing their grasp on you. Maybe you've begun to stand up for yourself more. Maybe you're demanding answers, conversations. Maybe you've even, dare I say, placed expectations on the narcissist, and there are things they have to do now in the relationship. Whatever the case, they feel the need to reach out and begin to feel around for a new branch that will hold them and support the weight. Once they find this new person, they have a hold on both of you at the same time, kind of like suspended in the air there for a moment, deciding what they're going to do and waiting to see if this new branch will support them before they finally let go of you. But let's face it, sometimes they can swing right back or move all around the place. This is a monkey that's moving all around the tree, okay? This can happen when the narcissist is scared that you'll leave and they run out as quickly as they can to try to find your replacement. They can also do this if they feel, of course, like their needs aren't being met. I mean, let's face it, that's all the time. This can also be done to spark jealousy and maybe give you a nudge to step up your game. I mean, come on, survivor. The narcissist obviously has their eye on other people. If you don't do what they want, maybe they'll just go find somebody who will. Really, though, this is done because a narcissist fears things like rejection, loneliness, being abandoned, and they have low self-esteem. So, what do some possible signs of monkey branching really look like? A narcissist will start to spend more and more time away from you. And this will definitely strike you as weird because you know this person never wants to be alone. They might text you a million times, always want to be around, they're always calling, they're always doing something. But all of a sudden, they're cool for days and days, and they seem unfazed by the fact that you're barely talking and not spending any time together. Along with this, you might even be told that they suddenly want more alone time. Additionally, their time on the laptop or the cell phone, you'll see that skyrocket as they're telling you that they want all of this me time. Sudden secrets are another sign that your partner is monkey branching. You can no longer just grab their phone when yours is dead and Google, like, how long do turtles live or whatever. Now the phone is going to the bathroom with them. Now all of a sudden it's face down on the table. There's a passcode, the password on the computer changed, and you can't just grab the phone or do anything. They seem so very protective of the phone, of any kind of social media, any kind of contacts, and the history always seems very freshly cleared out. Another issue that will pop up that can be a sign of monkey branching is a big decline in sex and intimacy. If a narcissist is wooing and love bombing other sources, all the lovey-dovey stuff is honestly being saved for the newbie. Knowing that you won't leave them and having that firmly in the back of their mind, they're very confident that you're not going to go anywhere. They don't mind not giving you any of that. They pull back and give everything to somebody else, assuming that you're not going to go anywhere. They usually do this after they're pretty confident, or at least they think, that you're not going to leave the relationship and they can pursue somebody else and you'll be okay with it. Flirting is very, very basic, and it really can be the beginning of the end of something with a narc. If your partner is all of a sudden overly flirtatious with everyone, this could be a sign that they're gearing up and looking around and seeing what's out there. Now, let me be very clear when I talk about flirting. A smile and saying hello is not flirting. I mean very obvious, over the top, flirting right in front of you that makes you and maybe even the recipient like visibly uncomfortable. That's the level of flirting we're talking about here. Another thing we have to address, I briefly touched on the cell phone and the little glowing rectangles of all varieties. So You might find dating apps and other texting apps on their phone. And maybe you even met that way through a dating app and you thought the two of you had that exclusivity conversation and you chose to delete the apps. But obviously, here we are, right? And they also might be on more than one app at a time. Believe me, from what I've seen in my own relationship, I would know. There might be more than one app they're floating around on. Now, the next point I want to talk about, I've never seen this addressed in an article or any of my research, like over the past 5 or 6 years of like reading up on this. But so this one is just like straight from me. But everyone they talk to is a friend or a cousin or somebody who you should not be threatened by. But yet it's someone that you've never met before. You've never met these people. And the way they're talking, it kind of seems inappropriate. And it sounds like this person or these people don't know about you. And it's really obvious that it's not a friend. It's not a family member. There's definite shadiness happening. Again, I know from experience because everybody was a friend or a relative or a friend of the family or something like that. And they were all listed under code names in a secret cell phone that I wasn't supposed to know about. So again, I've never seen that point talked about before, but that's a definite sign of monkey branching. They already have other sources in their harem. They're already monkey branching. So I just want to throw that out there. If you'd like some help and support and understanding with what you're going through with a narcissist in a very toxic relationship, you can set up a phone chat with me. You can text or call the number on the screen to get information sent right to your phone and set up an appointment. You can book online right through my website. That link is available for you right down in the description. If you want, you can also just send me an email, bookachatwithjess@gmail.com, and you'll be sent information and you can book a chat that way. Let's talk about new stuff. They might have a new look. They chop off their hair, get extensions, dye their hair, shave or wax things that maybe that wasn't happening before, get a wardrobe change. Additionally, hobbies might change. Like now all of a sudden, like they go bowling on Thursday. Like, what's that all about? All of a sudden, every Friday night, they have this new peer group, and you don't even know how they met these people. It's not people, it's person, but I digress. Narcs are creatures of habit and don't normally like when anything changes. So when there's a bunch of changes very rapidly and they seem very excited about this, it's because they're getting some kind of benefit. And it generally means they're doing some kind of shady bullshit and they're up to no good. Another very present sign of monkey branching is when the narcissist stops future faking you. Was there all this talk about moving in, getting married, having kids, or planning that big trip, that really special vacation, what have you, and now nothing? Like days and weeks can roll by and there's no talk of any future plans down the road. It's very current, very present, very day to day, and there is no future faking. Well, a narcissist future fakes to keep you hanging on, and it might feel as if they don't really care if you stay or not, because they don't. You're still useful, but they're looking for your replacement. That's what monkey branching is all about. They're reaching around and feeling around to see who will kind of take over your job and take over your responsibilities. So if they don't particularly seem too fussed about whether or not you're going to stay, it's because obviously they're not. Along the same lines, the narcissist will begin to flake on you. They'll say yes to you in the moment to get you to shut up, but then when they have to show up or they're asked to do something, they'll flake. They'll cancel last minute, make up a lame-ass excuse, or they'll just do nothing. They just won't show up and they just won't care. Flaking also goes hand in hand with what I call lost time. For example, you say, "Hey, what did you do yesterday?" And you get, "Oh, the usual stuff." And they really can't account for where they were, who they were with, or what they were doing. And huge chunks of time just seem lost. Definitely not a good sign. Is it taking them like 3 hours to go to the grocery store and then they can't tell you why or what they bought, or they come home with like 4 things and you're like, wait a minute, none of this makes any sense. Additionally, Commitment and scheduling becomes an issue. And we have that lost time, so to speak. Not only what they've done, but what they will be doing. So instead of, hey, what'd you do yesterday? That very simple, so hey, what you got going on today? What are you doing? Will become, I don't know. I'm not really sure what I'm going to get into. Maybe I'll do this, maybe a little bit of that. I'll just see where the day takes me. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is that even? Babbly bullshit that doesn't mean anything. And you know what? When the narcissist is doing that to you and being very ambiguous, they know exactly what they're doing. When the narcissist is monkey branching, your overall treatment is going to become worse. There might even be more fights. They're going to be increasingly agitated at you. They're going to tell you to get away from them more often. The insults might get more severe, as well as other things. Your treatment is going to worsen. You might even be getting gaslighted and blamed for all this stuff happening in that process. And before you know it, you're a psycho, you're a cheater, because you want a few answers to reasonable questions. Questions you wouldn't even have if they didn't act so guilty and shady all the time to begin with. So you tell me, what are some other signs of monkey branching that you know? And did you actually catch any of this in your toxic relationship? Share with me down in the comments. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. What a knack a narcissist has to make really good people think that they are the worst creatures on the planet. Narcs have a lot of tactics that they can use to gaslight people into thinking that they're awful, terrible people. This video is going to go over and share a lot of these phrases to prevent you from becoming brainwashed and gaslighted into thinking that this is all your fault, you're a terrible person, you're the narcissist, and all the other garbage that narcissists try to convince you of. A lot of gaslighting and brainwashing comes from the narcissist rewriting the narrative. It always has to be what they say happened, everything's on their terms, changing it up using denial. So when a narcissist tries to do this, you're going to hear those really classic phrases, just flat out denial. Things like, I never told you that. I didn't say that. You're confusing me with somebody else. Something like, you have a really wild imagination because all that you just said to me, yeah, that never happened. Maybe they'll say something like, you're just making things up now. I don't appreciate that. Another huge part of brainwashing is stonewalling and withholding. A typical move that a narcissist is going to make, stonewalling, withholding, flat out, they're cutting communication. And it's something that they do pretty well, and they might already be doing it, as if they're not, difficult enough to talk to. And this is where you hear those lines that absolutely kill the conversation. You can't take it any further. Oh my God. You know what? We have talked about this a million times, and this will not be 1,000,001. You need to stop pestering me. I seriously don't have time for this shit again. Leave me alone. Wow, seriously? Stop bringing this up. It's in the past. I am not having this same tired ass conversation again. Do you understand me? Challenging you is a big part of brainwashing and gaslighting. Saying things to you that might stop you in your tracks and make you question your own thoughts. When this is done, it is highly effective. So you're going to hear those gaslighty phrases like, you have a really terrible memory. I don't know if you're aware of this. You have a mental illness. I can see that from here. And you know what? I think it's messing with your brain a little bit. I don't know where you get these ideas from. You have an overactive imagination. I'd work on that if I were you. You might want to talk to somebody. You might actually need some help. I think you're a little bit delusional. If you'd like some help, support, and understanding with what you're going through with a narcissist, you can set up a phone chat with me. You can call or text to the number on the screen to get information sent right to your phone and set up an appointment. If you want to go to my website, the link is available for you down in the video description. You can get information on how my chats work and set up a chat that way. You can also get my information emailed to you and set up a chat that way. Just send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com. Narcissists will also use that good old-fashioned blame shifting to make you responsible for things that Yeah, you didn't even do. Narcs love to turn things around and just right back onto you. And that is going to sound something to the effect like this. You must seriously love to fight. Look what you're doing right now. You are ready for an argument. You're going to insult me and try to pull me in. I mean, really, look how you're behaving right now. You're seething, you're angry. You have no self control, do you? What are you even talking about? I don't understand you. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. You know, you really need to learn to communicate better. You're not a very effective communicator. Why do you keep attacking me? I don't have to deal with you being abusive. There's something wrong with you. This is a you issue, and it has nothing to do with me. Now, we also have some phrases that we're going to hear from a narc that are very minimizing, very marginalizing, and very invalidating. And that's what a narcissist is, really best at. Am I right? This can help them in the brainwashing department for sure. The problems you have are turned into nothing. You're told you're making a big deal about things, you're belittled, and you're also told how little really in the end you matter and how much they don't care about your problems. You might hear something like, "It was just a little joke. Are you done being like uber sensitive now?" Or, "Your jealousy is really ugly and you don't even have anything to be jealous about. I don't know what your problem is." What is your deal? I mean, seriously, what is wrong with you? You are always making everything a big deal and it's not. I don't know why you have to be this kind of a drama queen. Okay, and why is this a problem exactly? Like, do you expect me to do something about this? I don't know what you want from me. I really can't deal with you right now. You are so difficult. You are like purposefully trying to piss me off and be difficult to please. Leave me alone. Yeah, that's just not really very important to me. So, yeah, I just don't care. You'll find a lot of these tricks and phrases will actually blend together, and they might even work better when that happens. Even in this list that I've read to you so far, you can see overlaps and they'll throw them together, and you could make a whole paragraph out of these, very brainwashy, gaslighty kind of phrases. So if you feel like you're being gaslighted or you were gaslighted and a person was trying to just brainwash you, get control over you, confuse you, whatever word you really want to use, it doesn't matter. There are some things that you can do to kind of break this cycle and respond to it. The best thing that you can do, since this revolves around trying to confuse you, is document what's going on. Screenshot the messages, save the emails, take notes during phone calls. If you feel inclined, record the phone calls. Push communication with your gaslighter towards those forms of communication, one that you can copy in black and white. If you're in person, remember, you can always end the conversation. You don't have to have that conversation with them in the moment. You're a grown ass adult. If you feel like they're trying to confuse you, if you feel like they're overtaking, you can just say, "You know what? I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm choosing to end this conversation." Hold true to what you know is right. When you know the truth, you know what you saw, you know what you heard, you know what you're experiencing. Do not let someone tell you that you're wrong, that you're stupid, that there's something wrong with you that you don't understand. Really, really think about that. And if you are hearing those things from a person, ask other people in your life if they feel that way about you. Does anybody else think you have mental illness or memory issues or, is anything else going on? Ask them for honesty. Do you get details wrong? Do you have trouble in these areas? Or is it just the toxic person who needs you to believe their narrative? If that's the only person who has a problem with you, that might be something else to think about. It's no coincidence that the narc is the only one who wants you to think something other than the truth. Remember to try to stay as calm as you can when dealing with this person. Being reactive, argumentative, confrontational, vindictive, angry really only ramps up a person who behaves like this, and they will feed off of your negativity and all those emotions and all that drama, and it all just really becomes worse. I'd give some serious thought to putting some real distance between you and a person who's treating you like this and saying these things to you. If you feel that there's an issue of any kind, remember, you can always seek out a professional, a doctor, a psychiatrist. You can go to therapy, a psychologist, a counselor, even a medical doctor. Talk to somebody about your situation who has nothing to gain so that they can give you some real insight into the situation. I'm going to leave my playlist of videos all about gaslighting right here on the screen for you right now for you to check out if you're interested in getting more information. Let me know what phrases that you hear or heard when being gaslighted by a narcissist. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. A highly narcissistic person can be very argumentative.